Hello everyone, welcome to another video from me. And today I'm going to show you how I created this super simple, super quick, elegant card using feather leaf stencil, using one colour in Distress Oxides called Shaded Lilac. I've done the stamping of this gorgeous Seren fairy in Medieval Boo Versafine Clair. The sentiment that I'm going to use is Magic Surrounds Us, and then I've put a couple of miniature heart stamps over there. The card that I'm using multivarious cardstock from Lavinia, and I've got this multi-sized pack here. The size that I'm going to use for my card is 7 inches by 7 inches, which is 17.5 by 17.5 centimetres, more or less. So we'll get started. I'm also using as my template this fabulous slim heart from Sweet Poppy Stencils. It's a metal stencil, so I've got a magnetic sheet underneath. I'm popping my stencil into the middle. So I'm just going to pop some low tack stencil tape around the edge of my stencil so that as I'm blending around the edge I don't get any marks on my card. I'm going to take my Shaded Lilac. I'm using a blending sponge. I'm just going to ink it up. I've got my piece of copy paper to the side so that I can just take off the first part of the ink, and in a flicking motion, it's a very light colour, but with a flicking motion I'm just going to create this outline around the edge of the heart. I'm flicking from the edge of the stencil into the centre. And if any of you saw, I created a video in February or a couple of videos around Valentine's Day, and then this gorgeous heart-shaped stencil came out. How fantastic. So you can hear the dog barking across the road. Fabulous. They're threatening us with snow this morning. Okay. And it's sunshine. I think it's a bit cold, but... So I'm flicking this ink from the edge of the stencil just onto the card. Less is best because you can just build up the layers, whereas if you're too heavy-handed to start, it's more difficult to take it off. And the beauty about Distress Oxides is that they blend beautifully. So if you do get a heavy smudge, just go over it quite hard and you'll be able to blend it in nicely. So we're trying to create this beautiful glow around the edge of our card. Voila! So I'm just peeling off this low tack tape, which is gorgeous. It doesn't mark my card. Exactly what I need. And then I'm flicking it off. So even though it didn't look as though I'd got very much on there, there we have it, our outline of the heart. And then I'm going to take my beautiful Seren stamp, and I'm going to use my stamping platform for this. She is a gorgeously solid image, and I just want to make sure that I get it stamped beautifully. Just to say that I do use a piece of acetate or plastic inside my stamping platform so that I can see where it's going to stamp, so that I can position it really easily. So I'm going to pop my card as the magnets click together. And beautiful. And what I've done is I've positioned her feet just on the edge of the side of the heart there. Now I've got a tiny bit, tiny bit of ink on the side of my stamp there. And I don't want that on my card. Sometimes it's best to take it all off. There we go. So by doing this tapping motion up and down, the ink is going to be applied more solidly around the image. And then I'm just going to pop the lid down, put the lid on my medieval blue, that is. So it's not quite black, but it's sort of this. Now, I actually am going to go in with a second time there in the crease of her knee. It's not as dark or as solid. So you see, I just inked up that part of the stamp. Beautiful. And I'm just going to pop my piece of acetate back in there. Lovely. And then I'm going to take this beautiful, beautiful sentiment stamp. And then the last line of this stamp says, "Believe in the magic, then look for the light." It's just gorgeous. Now, I don't usually stamp. I blend with Distress Oxides and I'll stencil, but I don't usually stamp with it. But this time I'm going to, because I want to create this lovely soft look in the background. First generation, because it's such a light stamp, and I'm just going to position it there. So you can see it comes out really softly and faintly, such is the nature of this colour. Then I'm going to take same colour, my miniature stars stamp, and I'm just going to pop a few of those around the light of her lantern. I keep putting the lid on there because we're still going to use it, because we've got one colour for this entire card. So I'm going to ink up my blending sponge again. And for this, I am going to flick. So I'm just flicking my wrist. I'm going to flick all around the edge of the card. So there we have it, a gentle glow all around the outside of this card. And then I'm going to take my feather leaf stencil. Again, still same colour. Any of the stencils will work beautifully for this technique. And we are just going to, tone on tone, we're just going to lay some of the colour around the edge of this card on top of the shading that you've already done. Isn't that so pretty? And because the stencil is pretty random, it doesn't matter where the parts join up. And in fact, you could move the stencil around in various places around the card. As you know, sometimes I like to pick out the best pieces of the stencil, even though of course they're all beautiful. Voila. And the last thing that I'm going to do is I'm just going to ground her. I'm using just a black pencil, smudge it with my finger, or sometimes I tend to use this paper pencil. Helps give me a bit of a smudge there. Just a tiny mark to make it look like there's a little shadow where she's standing. And there you have it, something so simple and so pretty in any single colour. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you have a lovely day. Thanks for watching. Bye.